we have the amp on the board as it should be, and we have the audio control sitting here as we should be. I did a couple of test drills, drill the proper size so that I can fit this wire through, and there is a hole right here. You'll see me drill that in a little bit. I'm not gonna move it for now. I test drill the hole to see the proper size for some speaker wire to go through, because we're gonna drill a few holes for that to go through here. And then on the back side, I drilled a bigger hole and I had to slot it just a little bit so I could fit the bass control knob through there. So that takes care of those few holes that need to be drilled. But before we drill those few holes, what we need to do is we need to lay out the 5 for these 5 channels here. We have a couple more holes that we're gonna have to drill also. But let's go ahead and let's get these laid out and get them drilled so that we can put the speakers terminals in right there. Let's do some, we're just gonna kind of figure out on here, halfway. Okay, so we got 2 holes to drill, boom, boom, and that's going to be for this channel and this channel, whatever it is. I don't know what it is off the rip. It's not that important, but what I'm going to do is, let's see, I'm going to poke a hole here, one there, and then that's the drill bit. So let's come all the way back over here and take another one and that. Do it here, somewhere there. All right, there it is, and then the next one. There. All right, so I'll just follow that, and then let's see what the hell's gonna be. Center, right there, and we're just gonna center, and but anyway, let's go ahead and poke those 5 holes there. The big hole here and hole here, and kind of go from there. So we see I got to do 3 holes here. I have the 1 hole for this wire to come up. All right, that's going to come up. The remote's going to go in, and then these wires, the other wires, are going to go to the 4 channels. Okay, and then we got to have power and ground. Let's lay out 1, 2, 3 for ground, power, and remote. All right, so I don't know what size holes they're going to be yet, but they're going to be tiny. They're going to be teeny tiny. Let's go ahead and unplug this and get that out of here. That don't need to be there. We're going to drill a hole, come up. I'm going to hold it inside a little, so they're going to kind of come up and around. Let's do that at a 1/2 inch. All right, and let's put a little line across. Do that. All right, that works. But I'm gonna have to stretch that because I can't do that many in one spot, right? You can't drill them that close. So let's find a remote wire. So this is tiny little, I think it's 16 gauge wire. So let's do a measurement. And I did set the 0 on the mic, and so it's saying 11 1/28. 332. We could drill a 332 hole. Some 332 holes should get us through where we need to be. So we do need 1, 2, and 3. All right, 1, 2, 3. 332. Here's the 332 bit. There. Now let's see if we can slide quick on that over. And let's get a razor blade. And now I'm being silly. Take a razor blade. No one says a razor blade. All right, but anyway, we got wire, and I want to make sure that the wire will easily pass through. And it will really hard. So we're going to go on 332. Okay, there we go. And then let's get right through. All right, so let's go right through. All right, so right there. All right, so that is for the ground, remote positive, remote out, ground, and positive. The next would be for the 9-pin, this hole right here, and that is going to be that's right out here. That's it. All right, so we got the hole, and that allows for this 9 wire. Oh yeah, that comes right up, and then I'll split it where those 2 go under there. The 3rd won't be used, and then the remote end would come down and come here, and then all right. So that, and then the next set of holes, or the next hole that needs to be, all right, so this is going to be the one for the remote, and we're going to open that. All right, so that goes through, and then we'll have to open that up to fit that to go through. Next step. So, all right, for me, that's everything. I can clean up the back sides of this, and you can see that this is, you can see as I can see, this is fairly flimsy. So eventually I am going to have to pull all of this out. Once it's all in, I'm gonna have to pull it all out. I'm gonna have to measure it up. I'm gonna have to design it in CAD, and I'm sure they got something a little bit more rigid than this. But as of right now, that works really good. I could probably slot these a tad bit. Slot, so that there's a little room in those. But as of right now, I think I'm pretty happy on where I'm at for everything that needs to come through. That being said, we'll take this for now, and we'll just put this to the side. Next thing is, we've seen before, I have to put in some holes. Should be here somewhere. Oh yeah, I can see them. You can't see them, but there's 4 holes that need to be drilled, and that's so that I can put this, the ground or the positive wire, and I'm just gonna zip tie that to here. Is it a fancy doohickey? No. Will it work? Yes. No one makes a really nice, or that I know of, and I'm not gonna go out and search for it. This is gonna work, and this is gonna do the job. It's gonna go down low enough underneath the amp tray, so you'll see that this will go into the power. However that needs to go. That'll go into the power. Okay, this will go down underneath the tray and run along, come back up, and then go into the bottom of the LC7. All right, so everything can't be as purty as me, but we can try. All right, I'm gonna put that in there. All right. Oh yeah, I got plenty. If I strip that, I can solder that, and then positive is further away, and we got just about enough to kind of play around with that. If I strip it just right, I'll be able to insert and be good. So we're good there. I'm happy with that. Take the amplifier, stick it to the side. You out on top. There we go. What's it? Yeah. 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 All right, there we go. So, there we go. Let's take this. All right, and then perfect. So I'm gonna take, I'm gonna come up from the bottom there, and the same thing on the other side, and come up from the bottom once again. If I can find a hole. That's what she said. Yikes. All right, there we go. So there we go. All right, and then we're gonna take this and put that through, and then all right, that works perfect. So that and that, we stick that. Let's stick this down. Let's get that through. All right, and then that's all taken care of. We see how that is. This is going to be the one that's going to get soldered onto the remote wire over there. So let's go ahead and strip this real quick so we know it's that side, and get the solder and stuff ready. Let's strip that back a little bit. I'm gonna have to turn around, but we're gonna cut this one here, and I'm just gonna go ahead and give myself plenty of extra on this, because that is plenty of extra. So that's plenty of extra there. And then let's go ahead and strip this back, because we're gonna solder those two together. So, there we go. All right, pull back. Just here. Boom. All right, so let's take this in now. there, together. So, there we go. Now, one line, only goes to the side joint, and you wire it all the way to the bottom. It's a really thin wire. It's kind of like it's been fast, but you get it in, and you just kind of roll off the bottom. There you go. And we should see on the bottom side here, you see that was the bottom. Where we at? That was my bottom. All right, and we want that to go all the way through, and that is a good connection. There probably could be a tad more there, but she's good. I'm not worried about that. Let that cool a bit. We'll put some heat shrink on it. Bada bing. I think I missed the recording of that, but there's that. This will swing around and go there, but that holds that. This is going to come down below like such, and going to come along over to the other side and come back up through the amp rack, and that's going to be the power for the LC7. Now, one thing I was thinking about was, all right, that should go down like that. That should be fine. But on the ground, I feel like I should poke a hole right here for, I should poke a hole for this to go through, and a hole for this to go through. Or not so that goes through, but I need a hole for this to go through and another hole for that to come up through. So I'm going to poke a hole for this here, right about here, and then another one for the ground and remote to come up. So let me figure that out real quick. Let's go ahead and just lay this out real quick. All right, we're just going to take this and put a line across. All right, that should be plenty. All right, it's only for 3. First one being, let's extend that a little further. Okay. So first one is going to be for first one. Come on up, and then I guess you can come on up too. The first one to go right here. That's the biggest one, and then we're gonna do that, and then there. Okay, so boom. First one has got to be big enough for this to go through. So we'll figure out what that size, the biggest size is right here, where that lump is, so we can get it through. Now we have holes for. We have the holes for the fuse, and this is power going that way to the LC7. So there's that. Let's throw it up on the bench and check a look at it. There we go. So that works. There we go. Okay, so that's that. All right, and this goes into the amp. All right, and then we'll have remote and ground, or ground and remote. Remote in the middle, ground to the outside. Let's just throw this up here. There we go. So like this, I'm not gonna plug it on, but you see that. This will go into here. All right, and I'll just zip tie it to the bottom of the power wire, and that's gonna send power down this wire all the way over to the LCI. Ground to come in through here, the hole closest to you, and then that center hole will go for the remote wire. And then we got that there. Front, left, right, rear, left, right, sub. Okay, that's just a bolt to hold it down. And then this will go there. And man, we're like cooking with fart juice. So, so we got all of that kind of figured out, and it's a matter of just planning everything out. And sometimes it takes a little more, it's a little more efforty than you would like. But speaking of effort, I need to put effort in. Get rid of this belly. I know I'm sexy. It is what it is. Look, I know women can't keep their hands off of me. I don't do married or women who are in relationships, and I'm getting married, so I'm off the market. Anyway, with that being said, I am going to charge the camera up, let this all marinate, and I am going to go for a nice walk with the old lady, and then probably have dinner. And then after dinner, I'll come back. It'll probably be darker later tonight, and we'll really work on getting all of this stuff kind of dialed in. So with that being said, I'm going to throw this on a charger, and I will check you guys later. We'll get back to this.